I've already showed you how to make Belizean meat pie in video number 3. Go back and watch that video to see how to make the meat, because today what I'm going to teach you how to do is Belizean meat patties. You're watching the Bear Pantry Show. So if you've checked out my video for Belizean meat pies, you'll see how we do the meat. This is at the ending part of it, and on this today, I put some spinach in it only because I try my best to try to make the meals a little bit more healthy. So here I am putting the flour paste or the corn starch, but this is flour paste. And we work it in so that we can get the meat to the consistency that we need it for pies. But today, we're doing something different. We're not doing meat pies, we're doing meat patties. I already have salt and pepper in this, and I have onions, cilantro, and jalapeno peppers to make it spicy. So this is done, and now we're going to move over to the counter for me to show you how to do the pie dough for any type of salty type pie. So if you remember when we made pie dough for the sweet one, for jam rolls and for lemon pie, we had 4 cups of flour, 3/4 cup of shortening, and 3/4 cup of butter. Now to make the pie dough for any kind of salty type pie, you wouldn't put any sugar in it because it's not a sweet one. You can add some salt to it if you'd like, but really and truly I monitor the salt that I eat, and you're gonna have to like get with your doctor to find out how much salt you should eat, because I eat on the lower side for any amount of salt. So we're gonna put the butter in. Just gonna get it in here with my fingers. It's room temperature. And this is 3/4 cup like I told you. Just gonna do a few patties. Work it in the flour. And remember I told you there's no magic to making pie dough. People will tell you have to cut it through with a knife. You have to use one of those pie cutting things. I don't own any of those, so I use my hands like I do with everything else. And I just work it in, and the trick is you have to have the correct amount of fat, which is the shortening and the butter, to match the appropriate amount of flour, and you have to add cold water. I told you before, if you don't have ice, just make sure the water is extremely cold. But I'm using ice cold water, and now we're gonna make the dough to make our meat patties. So here's our pie dough. And I'm going to set it in the refrigerator for 15 minutes like I told you that we did with the sweet one, okay? That's just to make it roll out a little bit better. See you in 15 minutes. I've allowed the pie dough to sit in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes. And what I'm going to do to make the patty is get a little piece off. Well, I guess this is a large piece. It's about a golf ball size. Get our counter floured. Get our rolling pin floured, and we're going to roll this piece of dough out into as round a circle as we can get. And if you notice with me, I am not a trained chef or anything like that. I'm just a self-taught mom. See, this is not really round, so but you can spend time on it, you know, and kind of make it round and pretty. Doesn't really matter how it looks. It's matter how it tastes. That's what I always say. So we get a little bit of the ground beef. And I did the ground beef early this morning before I went to work. I just did not add the flour paste until just now when I got in. We're going to fold it like that. And we're going to get a fork. We're going to close the edges like this. And we're going to start setting these patties on this greased baking sheet, like that. Now I'm going to get this filled up. I'm going to try to make them look pretty as best as I can, and then I'll tell you what we do next. Put some of our meat in it. And again, our gravy looks kind of green because I put spinach in here so I can get some fiber in my meat pies. See how many patties we have on the tray? This is using that big golf ball size that I started off with, 1, 2, 3, and then I half that amount to do these small ones. And we have enough dough left over that we could have probably got another sheet like this on a lot of little small ones, but I hate doing these little small things. So I grabbed me a big pie dish here. I'm gonna cut this in two, and I'm gonna make one big one. And I wanted to show you because remember with the sweet dough I told you that we flute it. With this, we're just gonna make a design with the fork like that. And really we don't even have to do it on this bottom piece because we're gonna put a top and we're gonna merge it anyways, but just to show you, just a pretty design to put there. And then I'm gonna cut the edges off, get the meat in there and get the top. This is the top part of our pie. So I'm gonna put this lid on. Our pie is almost ready for the oven. I have the oven preheated on 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This is only gonna take about 35, maybe 40 minutes at the most to bake. Here's the finished product. Here are the patties in one platter. Here's our homemade pie. The kids already dived into that. They couldn't wait. And let me get one of these patties cut open so you can see what it looks like on the inside. See the insides? Has some consistency to it, right? There's meat, there's some of the gravy, so it's juicy. I've seen some meat pies and some meat patties where you kind of need a straw to drink the liquid that's on the inside, or sometimes they're too thick. So this is the inside of one of our patties. So I hope you've noticed how much easier it is to make the meat patties than the meat pies. Because you know the meat pies take kind of like an art to put that dough in the cupcake pan or the muffin pan and put the lids on. It takes a little bit of time. And sometimes we don't have time. I mean, when you're self-employed, you're the first one to get there, you're the last one to leave. So like I made the meat this morning, I came home and then I added the flour paste to it. And then I did the dough and I did everything so we could have it for dinner. I hope you enjoy. Thank you for watching. I love you for subscribing. And thanks to everybody who's been picking up my book. Until I see you again, take care.